Hello and welcome to the Rainbow Room International podcast channel. My name's Riccardo. Today's episode of Stars of the Brand, quite frankly, is going to be a weird one because it's my missus. It's Jackie and I are going to sit here and talk to each other. I kind of know most of the answers. I'm hoping there's not any nasty surprises about stuff that I don't know. But ultimately, I get to see this powerhouse on a daily basis, and I know how hard she works, how passionate she is, whether it's about hairdressing, whether about her art, or whether about the dogs. I see all of this day to day, and I can't wait to share this person's journey with you today. So, usual service, make sure your hands are on your steering wheel if you're driving, and if you're watching at home, just sit back and relax and take as much inspiration as you can from Jackie Curran's podcast. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, Riccardo.
I don't know if officially to call you Jacqueline Curran and give you your whole stage name, or call you Jackie. This is going to be.
I've got that many nicknames.
You've got a few nicknames, which most of them we can't actually reveal on here today. Right. So, bit of housekeeping. Needless to say, Jackie and I are otherwise, needless to say, a couple. So this is going to be kind of slightly a window into our world, and we may or may not have a mid-domestic during said podcast.
Well, if
so
you behave yourself,
shut up. So this is going to be weird from start to finish. So it's one of the things where the whole series has been, talking about people you've had a relationship with for 30 odd years and this, that, and the next thing, and Jackie's and I's is checkered, to say the least. Right, so let's go. Right back to the start. Barney and Beth. So we're so where were you born? Where did it all?
Yeah, so North Ayrshire, Ardrossan was born. My dad's Irish, so he came over to Scotland. I think he was about 21 or something. I think my papa said, you need to go before you end up in the clink. I think he liked fast cars, and he wasn't doing anything crazy, but I think he could be a wee bit boisterous. Yeah. So they decided to put him on a ferry over to Scotland to stay with our cousins would be the best thing. Right. And then he met my mum. Right. So that was that. So yeah, I was born Ardrossan, North Ayrshire, and I think primary one. I think I got to the end of primary one, and then we moved to Ireland because Dad got a job over there.
Yeah. And so, how long were you out there for?
Now, I think it was about 6 years.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like in Jackie kid time.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like when you have summer holidays when you're at school. They just go on for years, don't they?
Right?
If only. But Mum said it was way shorter than that.
We've only just
four.
We've only just found this out, haven't we?
Just like a couple of months ago. So I think she said it was about 4 years, but anyway, it felt like 6 to me. In my head, we left after primary one. We left to go to Ireland, and when I came back, I went into primary 7. But my mum says I'm a bit mixed up there. So anyway, so we were in Dublin for a year, and then we moved to County Meath after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And can you remember back to it? Did you enjoy it? Was it kind of weird? Because that's quite an upheaval.
Yeah,
at a young age.
I remember having to go to a lot of different schools. Yeah. We went to a school that was run by nuns. Brilliant. That was scary. Brilliant. Yeah, everybody was frightened of the nuns.
No wonder. It's Irish nuns as well. It's not just nuns.
Oh, God.
It's not good.
So I was always the new kid. Wherever I went, I had to stand up in front of everybody in the class. My name's Jacqueline. Of course, when I went from Scotland to Ireland, I had a Scottish accent, and then coming back, I had an Irish accent. But Mum said when I was out, when we lived in Ireland, she said when you were with your friends, you had this lovely Southern Irish accent, and the minute you were in the house, you were back to Scottish.
Wow. Right.
So I maybe didn't like being different. Yeah. So I flipped to whoever I was with. Of
course.
But we were out in the country in County Meath, and it was just, I have a lot of freedom. Yeah. It used to me, again, the nearest shop was Sheila's shop, and it felt to me like it was 5 miles away.
And you're no long, you've been back, haven't you? You've been,
been back a couple of years ago.
It's so funny because I know the answers to all these questions,
No,
right?
I know.
It's hilarious. Like, I drove you there.
I know,
You know what I mean?
that's right. We went back. We were over for a wedding, for one of the girls in the company's wedding, which was amazing. It was fantastic. And it was near to where we grew up, and I hadn't been back since I left, like 30 odd years ago or something. Longer than that. So we drove, didn't we? We drove down, and I wasn't going to chap the neighbour's door because I don't like doing that.
No.
So to see the house that Dad built for us was enough for me.
Yeah.
But then my mum said, "I've told Eileen and Larry."
Threw us under the bus.
Threw us under the bus.
Under the
that
bus.
You're going to, you're going to go in and visit. And I went, "Mum, I told you I don't know how to do that," because I didn't remember them, that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did do it. Because I thought, right, we're here now, and they know we're here, so that we can't not.
Yeah, can't not, no.
And the minute Eileen opened the door, I recognised her straight away.
Oh, it was hilarious.
And of course, I said to you, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." And then I was like, "Lee, come in."
I'd already stopped the car. I'd already get the seatbelt out. I was halfway out the car anyway, because there's no way you're going to anywhere in Ireland and expecting to say hello to somebody and then go away. And my backside wasn't even on the couch. We were like, "Do you want a ham sandwich?" It couldn't have been any more stereotypical. And it was brilliant. They were great. And of course, the funniest bits, the dads looking at you like, mind's blown. And the whole thing was, I can still imagine you just sitting on that wee wall and your wee legs dangling. And I'm like, a good chance if you put it on the wall now, your wee legs would still be dangling. So you get home, a wee bit of primary school and then into secondary. So what was secondary life like?
It was great. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I liked school. I wasn't one of these people that would dog it and go down the street and hang about the Melbourne cafe with a jukebox in it, which was really cool. And I know a lot of people did that at the time, but I never did that. And if I did, it was late on, like 5th year, when, you had a lot of free periods and stuff. So I went right through at the end of 5th year. I got my standard grades, O grades and higher. So no, I loved it. I loved English and I loved art. That was my thing. And I loved PE.
Yeah.
I love stuff like I loved French. I loved to talk it. I couldn't really write it, but I could talk it. So I got my standard grade in that. So that was the kind of student I was. English, art, and a wee bit of language.
It's quite a mix,
so
but it's not kind of. It's obviously, it's all on the creative side, depending on what people think. But language, at the end of the day, is still a creative process.
Absolutely. And even now, I like to try when we go on holiday.
We're just back from France with a back boot that clinked of many champagnes. And I feel like I'm taking the mickey. I just feel like I'm the guy for Hello Hello. And I can't do the accent, whereas you're like hippopotamus, dive in, that way.
If you're trying French in an Ayrshire accent.
Doesn't work.
No.
Doesn't work.
No one's understanding.
Certainly doesn't work in a Glaswegian accent either. Although I've got some sort of weird hybrid now, I think, which I don't like, quite frankly. It's terrible. So in school, had hairdressing ever crept into your thinking at this point? Like, what were you thinking of doing when you were leaving?
Well, I wanted to go to Glasgow Art School.
Yeah.
I did. But in my head, and maybe it was wrong for me to think, but I didn't think, academically, I knew because it's fiercely competitive to try and get into Glasgow Art School. So the level of, and it was like the people and the students above me that were trying to get in that couldn't get in, and I knew their art was way better than mine. So the other then option was Gala Shields, but I'd had to have left home. And at that point and at that age, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
No, I just wasn't, which is ironic because a couple of years later I left house anyway.
You would do it anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
So the minute I had started earning and whatnot, then I was out. And my mum turned my room into a dining room within 3 weeks. And I went, I take it I'm not allowed back. She says, well, I knew when you would go, you wouldn't come back.
It's interesting though. I still think at that period. So what you talking 89, 90?
Yeah.
I suppose if you've came from just a normal Scottish / Irish background and like art school, you just don't think it's for you. Almost to a certain extent, you think these things, whether it's drama, even folk going to conservatoires and music schools and all that, you kind of, whereas now, I think in the digital age and all that, a kid will probably look at these things and it's a complete option They can find out how
Yeah.
they can get there, and they
Yep,
can
yep.
have a plan B and a plan C. I think for us at that point, it seemed like a mythical thing that either like the most extremely talented people, or whether it was a rich kids thing, or I don't know, it just
know.
it didn't seem like the norm to me.
I always felt a lot of pressure on deciding what you wanted to do. And see,
Yeah.
at that age, I had
No idea.
really no clue. I just knew I loved art.
Yeah, no idea. I still don't know what to do when I grow up. So where did hairdressing creep in?
So I'd done my 5th year, and then I'd done 6th year. So I was doing 6-year studies in art, and I'd done higher history. I don't know if I took any more subjects with that. So I started that, and I got halfway through the year, and then I went, okay, I want to earn money.
Yeah.
So I
A
left school.
running theme here from this point
Yeah.
onwards. Anyway.
I just wanted that independence, you
Yeah.
know, that way.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I was needing that. So I left school, and my mum came in and went, don't think you've left school, you're not going to college, uni, and you're going to lie in your bed, which I would never done anyway. So I thought, all right, I better go and get a job. So it was the job centre back in the day. It was YTS, all
Right.
of that. And then I knew a few hairdressers. I knew a few hairdressers from going out clubbing and stuff. And they always just seemed really cool to me. You know, they were all the best gear. The hair was great. They just seemed like in the know.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want a bit of that. So, and I was right into the clubbing scene anyway. And music was a big part of it as well.
Of course.
So I said, right, I'm going to see if I can get a job as a hairdresser. So I went for an interview. There was a place in Cowan, David Dawson's. And I went, we just lined, I think the job centre lined that interview up for me. I went along and I got the job.
Right.
So that was it. I only stayed there for 6 months. It wasn't where all my clubbing friends were. They were in another salon up in Kilmarnock, a busier salon, a bigger salon. And I thought, right, well, this has given me a taste. 6 months.
Yeah.
I know I want to do this now. I've got a flair for it. I'm going to see if I can try and get a job up with this mob in Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
So it was Kenneth Atherton
Yeah.
in Kilmarnock. So they lined up an interview for me, and I went along. So Kenneth had phoned David just because obviously I was with David.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to look like I'm poaching your staff
Oh,
or
great,
anything like that. Yeah. And David said, no problem. He said, she'll make a great hairdresser, but she won't make a good assistant because you can't tell her what to do. Which I
So
don't remember.
So it was him that said to Kenneth that, yeah.
Aye, So went along, started my career in Kenneth's, and it was brilliant. It was everything that I'd hoped in my head. You know,
Yeah.
only having 6 months experience, it was everything that I hoped it was going to be. And then I was amongst all my pals and all the rest of it. That and they were qualified. My friends, they weren't assistants; they were qualified hairdressers. So of course, then that was the goal, the motivation to
somebody
go
to look
right.
up to,
That's where and 3.5. I think I was nervous. But I've just put so much pressure on myself all the time. I probably was ready to go on the floor after 3 years.
Yeah.
Because back then, it was longer.
So was it a proper full-on apprenticeship that you did then? You did like a proper 3-year thing and all that kind of stuff?
But I did 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Because I was a wee bit nervous. So Kenneth just held me back another wee bit just to... He felt that I think I got to that point and went, right, and I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now. So once I'm doing it, I'm doing it. So 3.5 years then I was on, I hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And within...
And did you have to go to college or anything, or was it an intern? Did he do
No, it was
internal
an
training?
internal, and people from the college came in
Got an assessor to come and do it.
and did our paperwork and all the rest of
Yeah.
it. So, and I think within 6 months I was self-employed, so I was busy enough
Right.
to be. So
And was
within
that their
first
business
year-
model? Is that what they did? So
Aye.
you kind of got
Yeah,
to a
you-
point and then it was kind of
When
rent
you
a
were
chair
busy
from
enough,
him?
then yeah.
Right.
So within 6 months, then I was self-employed, and it just went from there, which was great. So that was with Kenneth. So I was with him 9.5 years.
Right. So it's a chunk of time.
Towards the end of that, and it was great, it was
Yeah.
brilliant. Towards the end of that, I thought, right, because I think we only got level 2 with the college doing
Yeah,
that at that point, I'm
maybe,
sure.
yeah.
So I thought, right, because it had started in my head, I thought, I want to go to a town salon. I want to go to a city centre salon.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't have Apple phones and Instagram and Facebook to see all this. So it was here magazines and all that sort of thing. So I thought they might want me to have a level 3 or something like that if I try and get a job in a city salon. So I went back to college off my own back, got my, what is it, level 3? NVQ or whatever it is. Got that.
And where did you do that?
Come on.
What was it like? Was it just like a one day thing? Did you?
Yeah,
have to,
one day I did it on my day off.
Right.
So yeah, I did it on my day off. Went in, a lot of paperwork, a bit of practical stuff. But we'd already, I'd been doing it for nearly 10 years,
of course,
so we kind of knew that.
So she'd be passing it first time.
So done that, and then I started to look at salons in Glasgow, and my friend Amanda, she knew I was looking.
Right.
So, and again, you'd look in papers for advertisement and all that sort of thing, or you've got your job centre and go, who's, looking for staff. So she sent me a clipping out the Herald, posted it to me because I was living at Troon at the time. Did move out, mum and dad's, as soon as I could.
Of course.
Bought my flat in Troon. So she posted that down to me, and she said, and I was speaking to her, and she went, look at the second name, that sounds interesting. So it was Rainbow Room Clarkston, it was Adrian Foxworthy.
Yeah.
So we went, right, okay. So I phoned up and we got the interview set up with Clarkston. And another 2 salons. Now there was one in Candle Rigs.
Right.
I can't remember the name of the salon. My memory's terrible, but you know that, going back. And then there was one other salon. So I had three interviews lined up.
Right.
And I don't know in what order they came. I don't know if I went to Clarkson Rainbow Room first. I don't know if I went to the one in Candle Rigs. But anyway, I remember being in the taxi, and the taxi guy just asked me what I'm doing. I said, well, actually, I'm going for an interview. I've got a few set up. I'm a hairdresser, blah, blah, blah. And he went, he says, good. He says, what about that Rainbow Room? And I thought, right, well, if the taxi drivers know...
So he brought it up before you'd mentioned it, that's where you were going?
I never mentioned any of the names to him, but he went, what about that Rainbow Room? And I thought, well, that's got to be a good sign. Isn't it? If you've not got clients, customers, you've got staff that you're taking back and forth and dropping off.
No, it's brilliant. Any taxi driver I get in here goes, is that deer place? Great, that's not the best advert, mate. But that's spooky. Because I always thought that you were talking to the guy and he just, he knew that that's where you were going or whatever. But the fact he brought it up, that's mental. So, it's always interesting when it comes to interviews, because obviously I kind of had half of one, and it wasn't really an interview. I just asked David if I could get a job, and then I gave Linda £800 notes, and then that was me. I had my job, so it was kind of slightly different for me. But not going into it too much, but what was it like between the sort of 3 interviews, for as much as you remember about it?
So I can only remember 2.
Right.
There was a third one. I have no recollection where or what, when, why. So the one in Candle Rigs, I can remember, it was next door to the salon and it was in a pub. Right. And she had her pen and paper. It was a lady and a glass of wine.
Brilliant.
That was how
Breakfast
that interview went.
Great.
And I never heard back from them.
Right, okay. Right.
Nothing, nada, zero. But then when I went to Clarkston, everything just felt right. From the minute I walked through the door and Adrian's walking up the salon to introduce himself, took my jacket, it just felt very professional. And in my head, what I was thinking it would be like, and it was different from where I'd came from. And the salon, the chairs are all up each, because it's a big long salon that runs back, so all the chairs up either side. And it was heaving, it was bouncing, and it was training night, and all the assistants were lined up, standing behind their models. Right. So I was like, well, this is the reason. This is more the reason why. Yes. why I want to then, because I was just ready for a bit more, and I wanted to feel a city feeling, and I didn't want to be cocooned in the one town, place, salon for my whole career. I thought that's not what I want for me. I know that's maybe what other people are comfortable with that, and they like that, and they thrive in that. But I think because I had moved about so much when I was young at the different schools, that I crave change. I like change. When I get if I get too comfortable and too settled, I get a wee bit bored. But I think it's my childhood that's actually stayed me in good stead. So everything about that, everything about Rainbow Room Clarkston and Adrian just felt right. You know.
So trade test and all that, did you have to do the usual?
Done that. Wait, so obviously I had the interview with Adrian that night, and then we discussed coming back for a trade test, and I came away thinking, well, I think that felt good. No, I think, but you just don't know, you know. I mean, the other person I never even heard from again. So I probably bombed that interview. But I thought, no, that's good. And I thought, well, I'm going for a trades test. He's interested enough to see what my work's like. So I had Amanda, who sent me the clipping. She was staying in Paisley, so she wasn't far from the Clarkson Salon. So she came in as a model, and her husband Tom came in as a model. So they were great. They were good support. And another friend from Kilmarnock, she came up, and I was pretending to perm her hair.
All right, so you just wound
not
it.
Doing it. So we're getting through it, and I hadn't even finished it, and Adrian went, right, I've seen enough, Jackie. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Come on through. So at that point, I knew, right, okay, we must be in here. We must be in. And it was all systems go. But the salon I was working in was closed Sunday, Mondays. And then I sat in that interview, and it was like, well, we're open 7 days a week, and you'll be working a Sunday, Monday. I was like, but anyway, I was prepared to do what I needed to do to get, to get there. So,
and even at that point, you'd been struggling for chairs by then. Wouldn't you? I mean, you'd been that busy. Clarkson was bouncing by then that he would have needed to have been 7 days a week, and he would needed to have done that just for you. A bit like John later on as well, where they had to come up with crazy hours because they just couldn't. They couldn't squeeze anybody in anymore.
See, when I think about the time and the growth, and I'm not just talking me, I'm talking everybody in the salon at that point. I joined at a really good time. Because it just hit the ground running.
So what do you reckon that was then? Was that 2002 or what was that?
No, I think it was slightly earlier than that. Maybe 2000, 2001.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I mean the brand was just I mean it was mental.
And I think Clarkson had been open 10 years or something. At that point.
Well, by that point, 94, 96, 97, isn't it? So he'd have been open about 3 years, 4 years by then.
Oh, right, not as long as I think. Right,
because 24 would have been, because if I started in 90, 24 would have opened in kind of 94, 93, 94. So Adrian had been over there for a couple of years. So it was 96, 97, I think, roughly.
Right.
That kind of period. So it's only been a couple of years in it. But by that point, you know, he's obviously the roots had settled, the reputation was there. You know, you're just, as you say, coming in just at an absolute sort of golden point. And for the brand as well, and for British hairdressing, and for Glasgow as a city, you know, kind of tail end of the 90s to, you know, you've got to watch we don't put rose-tinted old person specs on and say how great Scotland was late 90s and mid-noughties. But it was just an absolute, whether you were going out, whether you were getting your hair cut, whether you were eating, whether it was fashion, clothes shop, shopping, you know, it was just an absolute, that was a golden period. So how was telling where you were about leaving? Were they okay? Were they all right?
They were totally fine. They were totally fine. I think what he said to me was, he said, we expected it from you. He says, we did expect you to go, just don't forget what you were taught.
Which...
No, listen, that training stood me in good stead the whole way through. And I say the same thing, you know, when I was managing the girls and teaching them, I said the same thing. If they decided they wanted to go and do whatever, like, just don't forget what you were taught.
Just do what we showed you, you know, that way. And I mean, and again, Kenneth's one of these guys, the amount of tentacles that come out of that salon in that period of time, the amount of hairdressers, and obviously including David themselves, You know, then we've had a few people that have came to work for us and aren't with us anymore that had been through that lineage at the same time as
That's
you
right.
as well. Is kind of, and he's maybe one of these kind of Scottish hairdressers that probably doesn't get quite talked about.
Aye.
A, as
what
much as he
he's due.
should do, and B, kind of put on the pedestal that he probably should have been put on. A million reasons why that maybe happened and didn't happen and whatever, but I don't think he's probably just doesn't get talked about quite enough in the level that he should get talked about. But again, there's probably towns.
A million hairdressers like that.
There's
yep.
going to be, and there's going to be millions. So, how did it feel coming in then? So you start, you know, on the floor, and you know, was it a kind of?
Aye, it was a bit scary.
Yeah.
It was, because it was, you know, I can't remember what size of a team it was, and everybody was a lot younger
Yeah.
from where I'd left.
Uh-huh.
So coming up to Clarkson was a lot younger. So I was quite competitive, and
Yeah.
it was, but for all the reasons of why I wanted to get into a
Yeah.
salon like that, it was all there. But I, you know, put a tremendous amount of pressure on me because I was very busy, you know, down where I was. I had a really good clientele, and I thought, well, I better make this work.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
So I've done it now.
But I got to, so actually, I think before my first day, and when I went up, and Shannon said to me, by the way, you've got cards here for you before you've even started. And it was my clients from down
Right.
Kilmarnock Way had sent me good luck cards
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that, which was lovely. So
Did you
she's
get
like
much travel? Did you
Aye.
get? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
I've
that far, is it? It's not the end of the world.
No. And I've still got a couple that come to me and that have been with me for 36 years.
Yeah.
And Jim, he knows
Aye.
he's
Yeah.
been with me the whole way through.
Aye.
Actually, I never saw Jim for a year.
Right.
And I thought, and that was when I was in Clarkson, and I thought, oh, is it finally the bubbles burst and I've lost him and he can't
Yeah.
be bothered travelling up? And then he appeared a year later one day and he went, no, he said, I had a crash on my bike and I lost my licence, my motorbike. He went, so I had a driver take me about everywhere.
Right.
So to ask him to bring me for haircuts
Aye.
was a bit much. So that was the only wee spell, but yeah, but he wasn't. So I've still got some of them 30 odd years later.
Travel that.
I know, which are brilliant, by the way. Love them dearly.
And did you go in at stylist level? Did you go in at?
Uh-huh.
Aye.
Well,
So-
senior stylist.
Right.
I think there was more levels at that point.
Yeah,
was there?
yeah.
So yeah, not stylist, but senior
Yeah,
stylist. Just I think because I had the 10-year
Aye.
experience under my belt, and they did say you'll be able to carry that, no problem. So, but then it's up to you to then get to the next
And I
level.
think as well at that time, because we knew pretty much most salons that if you were starting on the floor, we had 100 clients to give you. It was going
Yeah.
to, you know, that was going to happen. Whereas the fear of putting anybody in at too high a price now, when they join the brand, is that we can't guarantee
Yeah.
that that there's going to be X amount of clients, new clients walking through the door, because obviously it's you go to any hairdressing business thing, we're obviously over at Ireland and everything. Excuse me while I knock the Beastie Boys down. We're all fighting for new clients now, whereas at least back then, you can go in at that level and I'm going to be able to give you, 100 clients at that price point. How quick, did you find the structure of Rainbow Room? So the
Loved it.
targets, the bonuses, the kind of the working toward Congress and all that, did that suit you?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it, because it was something, well, I like a goal and I like motivation and I like a target. If I'm not doing it professionally, I'm doing it personally, as you know. We've always got a project, haven't we? So yes, I loved that, and I totally bought into the whole thing, and it was completely different to what, there was nothing like that from where I came from. Nothing. So I had just head down there, and it was as quickly as I could get through it. But I really, I put a lot of pressure on myself, I remember. And I don't know, it was great, it was good, I enjoyed it, but obviously sometimes I'll just take things too seriously.
Yeah.
But if I hear that Robbie Williams album, right, they played it constantly at that time. I can't remember, see the one where he's upside down?
Aye, right, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
I don't know
yeah,
what the
yeah,
name
I
of that
can't
album
remember,
is. So that played constantly, see now to this day.
if you hear it.
Oh, I see the feeling, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back to the beginning again.
All right,
And that's what it feels like, it's stuck with me.
no assistant and 7 standbys, you just get the fear.
I know you're like that, what, another one?
PTSD.
So within the first I got my first promotion now I started in the March, I'm sure. And by the November, December, I got my first promotion.
So you're in that kind of 9-month group of,
Yep.
and it's always that, and it is different now. So for the young team coming through, they're not going to do that. But whether it's the director's story or it's going to be the stars of the brand, you're going to constantly hear this thing of this first promotion within a year, you know, and then they hit the floor running. Slightly different in your case because you obviously had 9 years experience. You know, we're usually talking about people that have qualified and then doing it, whereas obviously you're coming in with a bit of a clientele coming to you, but also just all this wealth of amazing experience going into it. But even still, there's plenty of people that have cracked at that point and not hit it, and it's either been too much pressure or they've chucked it, or they don't like the stability of the targets and the commission and all that kind of stuff. But obviously you've just went, I'm having a bit of this.
I've totally bought into
So needless to say, you were around at the sort of start of the double promotions and triple promotions and all that kind of stuff. So did you go from senior stylist and do 2 at that point, or did you do a normal one first? Or
I think I done a normal one first,
Right.
and then I didn't take a triple at any point.
right, do you just do
I done
doubles?
double.
Aye,
I think I got a couple of doubles.
yeah. I think Alan maybe just kept triplers for himself. I think he just bumped a few people up Buchanan Street back in the day.
Maybe.
I'd passed all that. That was kind of, I'd got to kind of my sort of peak level by the time all the sort of doublers came in and all that. So we were always raging because they put all the extra levels in because of us, because they weren't all there before. So then all the sort of seniors and, you know, when it was designer stylist, then senior designer and master hair designer, then, you know, creative design, all these different, you know, we're like, very good. We thought we were getting there, and then the next minute they put all these levels. But you obviously had to not slow us down because you weren't earning any less money or anything like that.
No.
But you obviously had to put them in. But obviously the likes of yourself at a price point, you know, instantly Adrian would have been looking going, well, this is wrong. You should be X amount of pounds more expensive, and he's obviously had that problem there. So at that point, were you still having to come back into Glasgow and do the test and present to the directors and all that kind of stuff? Were you doing all that?
I remember. Oh God, that was so nerve-wracking. I hated that. But you had to do it. But yeah, I remember going up for one with Lee.
Yeah.
Lee and I together. And Alan and the panel, I don't know who else was there, you know, and you're trying to remember things like sweep up after you've cut your, you know, and I heard one, I don't know who it was that said, you know, we're meant to be professional. And then he went, oh, we've got one. Lee would have swept her section as well, right, no problem, but I'd remember to sweep mine, thank God. But I remember Alan going, you know, you have to be different and you have to stand out, guys, because we're all up there for a reason. We were all good. We'd all reached our targets, so we're all at a level. We were ready to go up. You went, but you need to be different because you need to give your clients a reason to choose you and not the next person beside you that's equally as brilliant.
Yeah.
So you know, what's your USP?
Right.
So and I always remember that. I remember that with a lot of things I try. For I might not be the best, but I know I can be different.
Yeah. But they were brutal.
Oh no, I know.
They were, you know, because it was like 5. See, when you think back now, because it was 5 models, wasn't it? There was like a hair up, there was like a curly thing, there was your bob.
I don't know if I ever had to do 5. That's intense.
You know,
I don't know. We were definitely, Jenny and I, when Jenny was with us, we were the first to do the mid boards.
Yeah.
And all of that. We were
and
the
the head
first
sheets
to go
as well.
through
Did you have
all
to
of
do
that.
it?
Yeah. We were the
Aye,
first.
because you had to do your 20 before and afters at one point. Remember there was the folder with the logo on it and all that kind of stuff. It was like 20 before and afters and head sheets for each one. But I'm sure talking to Tara, she said it was. I'm sure she said she had either 4 or 5 models, and you laugh now because you think that's a day's work. You know, stylists are now losing their mind in the staff room because they did 5 clients and all that kind of stuff. Where that was like kind of, you know, you had to have all that done and then get it to Glasgow, then make sure it was all still how you liked it, and then present it to the directors, and then there was that kind of, you know, panel, and it was like an interview and all that. So whereas now, you know, they get to send an amazing video in,
That's
and
right.
we all see the video, and you're like, oh, that's great. I mean, it's like completely different. Positives and negatives to both, I think, but just that sense of, I think what happened was, rather than it being a celebration of you getting promoted, it started to become a dread thing, to the point where some stylists were actually not trying to get promoted because they didn't want to do the test.
I know.
And we had to sort of look at that and go, well, that's not what that...
Because even I had moments like that.
No wonder, no. It would be
Even
like an absolute panic merchant
You
thing.
wanted it, but you're like, oh God, I need to go through this bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that was it. I think that's the bit that really kind of we had to change it.
Tweak it.
And it became more of a celebration and less of the interview bit kind of disappeared. And I think I think it got to the stage where you were placed with one director who went through your folder.
Oh yeah, because you went through mine one
Yeah.
time, remember that?
And it was like, you know, this is great, that's not so great, look at that, look at this, the next thing. I can't believe they even put me in charge of checking your figures. Retail, aye, brilliant. Treatments, aye, brilliant. Client numbers, aye, brilliant. And then the head sheet thing and all that. So I think that was better. I think the way that they did that was kind of was really good. And then obviously moving on to the videos and all that, that was brilliant. So that period of finding your feet in Clarkson and getting promoted, was it not plain sailing? Because obviously you were having to work at it, but it was pretty seamless, wasn't it?
I was at director within 3 years.
Right, which is mental. I mean, I don't think there's not going to be many that did that. I mean, your first recollection to me was just Congress and turning up and taking all the awards. And I'm like...
The first Congress when I won newcomer. I won newcomer with, was it Kerry?
Aye.
There was two of us that won it that year.
Split one that year.
And I loved that.
Aye.
I mean, I loved the whole Rainbow Room thing, but the first Congress.
Yeah, your first Congress is...
And I still remember it. I don't remember every other Congress.
No.
I remember some, but that one has never left
You were
me.
usually in your bed at 10 o'clock, that's why you can't remember. It was just a normal day for everybody else. You're like...
I'm a two-can Dan. I can't,
Champ the door.
But again, they were like full-on days.
Yeah. No, then, yeah.
Full-on days.
A wee bit, again, this
Going
year's...
back to that, learning,
it was
motivation,
great.
motivational
It
speakers.
was a wee bit heavier back then. So I just remember, who's this taking all the bloody awards? And what salon she in? Wait a minute. You know, because even at that time, Buchanan Street kind of still won kind of predominantly Linda and Pam's and the Joys and all that probably were still winning a chunk of awards. And then all of a sudden, Clarkson started, between Shannon and all that, because she was still, because she was basically, she was managing,
yes.
So she was still entering the awards.
That's right.
For those who don't know, the minute you own a salon, you're out the awards. We have two kinds of salon directors. The salon director level, it's a cut price, and then you've got the salon director that runs the salon and owns the salon. And the minute you get to that level, you don't take part in the actual awards anymore. Although we can go back into the creative ones and put a photograph in. That's really to walk the talk. You're asking your team to produce a piece of work, so it's always cool to do that
example,
too.
Yeah.
But you're not expecting to, you're not expecting to win it. I mean, unless you're Susie, and then you kind of are expecting to win it. But she doesn't really. She kind of the team go in for it, and she doesn't.
Right.
But so yeah, you kind of going up and picking. Who's that? The leather trousers going and stealing all the bloody awards. Get them back. And then from then on, because needless to say, we've got a garage full of them.
Indeed.
That was pretty much it then, from a clientele perspective. But you kind of, at that point in your career, it really was about the clients and the cash, wasn't it? That was your kind of focus, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I was still living in Troon at that point, and I wanted to buy a second flat. There was all that talk about pensions and this, and at that time, so I'm saying that golden period where the salon was jumping, it was such a good time. Everyone was buying up property left, right and centre. So I was like, well, I want a piece of that. So I want to get a second flat. So there was my personal goal. Yeah. It was like, so I had got to salon director in the salon. I still had to keep, and once you get to salon director, it's no easy. No. It's harder again because you're trying to keep a hold of your clientele, not lose them at that level. And it's a more expensive level. No, so it's not, getting there is actually easier than staying there. So I had to then, my focus was that really look after these people that's a wee chunk of gold, wrap them in cotton wool, these clients.
Well, the thing as well is the new client pool smaller because there isn't as many, obviously. That's from when you went on to salon director level, you know, in time of recording, you're over £100 for a haircut now. You know, so there's not a bus full of people that have never had their haircut before going, I want to spend £100 on a haircut. So as you say, it's way harder now to keep that going, and we'll go into that when we sort of talk about your hours and what you're doing now with your career. But did you, and obviously because of the system, and you knew what bonuses you were going to hit, and you knew how to hit them, did you find that work with the try to save up for the flat and do all that?
Absolutely, yep, because you had your, you know, your 3-year, your 5-year, and your 10-year goals, and then what do you need to bring in? And Rainbow Room was good with that, and Adrian was great with that, because it was like, well, let's work it back. What do you need? You want a flat in Glasgow? Well, it's going to cost you. So how much? What do you need of a deposit? What do you need to do this? And then we would work it back from that, and it was great that way, because I kind of needed that. You know, I wanted that. So that sort of help and, you know, nurturing and helping you on a personal level as well was fabulous. So so that all helped me, and then I got my flat in Glasgow and I rented the one out in June.
Yeah, amazing. So when did East Kilbride start getting talked about within all of that timeline then?
Yeah, so I can't remember now. I was in Clarkson for about six and a half years, and for the 3 years of that I was learning management.
Right.
So that opportunity was there if you wanted it, and Jenny and I at the time it was there, both of us did.
Yeah.
So we were helping Shannon. So somewhere down the line, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, and then East Kilbride had got brought up, and East Kilbride, Adrian, and I was always going. That was my opportunity. If I wanted to go to that one and manage salon, because Shannon was managing Clarkson, so they had their manager. Yes, we were assisting her and helping her, but if I wanted that myself, then the move would be to East Kilbride, which I was right up for. So 6.5 years in, then I was away to East Kilbride.
And then how was that transition? Because, I mean, the good thing is, obviously, you'd already done it before.
So I wasn't scared or frightened with that, and it was just, 10-15 minutes up the road. So again, a chunk of my clientele came with me.
Did you? So there wasn't much of a drop-off?
No. Managing the salon wholly was the big That was a lot more sleep. I don't think I slept for the first month. Well,
it's now on you, because obviously back then, you know, you could bounce the stuff off of Shannon, as you say, and off of Jenny and all that kind of stuff, whereas this time round now, it was like, right, this is on me. Obviously, Adrian, because Adrian moved to East Kilbride at the time, didn't he?
Obviously, he was moving between the two, but East Kilbride was where he was based. That's where he would do his clients, and that was his head office, if you like. So, he was up there more or less full time. Yeah,
and kind of, again, great, because then you can bounce off.
And he was there.
And did you guys start with a receptionist? Did you have somebody straight from the start?
We did, I think so.
Because that's an interesting thing, talking to some of the guys, and you know, when they were opening up, that they didn't have front of house. And I just can't imagine it. You know, that was, if anything, that was the one thing I was going to need. You know, I would have been quite fine to stand there for 7 days a week, all day, all night, and cut hair to put money in the till. But just the idea of not having somebody at the front of the house and answering phones. Obviously.
I know, especially when you're trying to be everything to everyone, be there for your clients. And yes, a lot of my clientele came, but I was still doing a lot of first visit clients. So a new client, that's a lot of time. You know, you've got someone that you don't know their hair, you don't know, you know, their boundaries, where you can take them, where you can't, something they would really like, or there's a complete no-no, you know, you're starting from scratch. So that's, you know, a lot of, you know, time, effort, brain power, and you're trying to juggle everything else. So I'm sure we had a receptionist at the start, but that, you know, the phone goes, the door goes, there's a bill needing taken, and by the way, respect to the receptionist all over the world, because I wouldn't do it.
No, all front
I couldn't do it. I couldn't
all front of house, raise her hat. Don't worry, we'll be getting a few of them in. We've got a few plus 20 year, plus 15 year rather.
My receptionists over the years have been my PA. Yeah, they really have. They've looked after me. They are brilliant.
No, that's it's dead simple. Salons wouldn't run without them, and we're in a world where they're trying to AI their job, and it's not going to happen. it'll happen. Hopefully it'll happen to make their job easier.
Lighter, so they can focus on other things.
There's absolutely no way that in their lifetime that's going to be removed as somebody, because, you know, even just as being able to eyeball somebody and help, you know, you need that with them, definitely. And the best ones are always unbelievable. You know, you kind of, you know, you're just sometimes in awe of them. Sort of culture, area, clientele, was it much different? Was it pretty similar? Did it feel different?
Because it was Clarkston, Newton, Mearns, and then up in the village in East Kilbride. So it was slightly, but not majorly.
Yeah.
Not majorly, but there was a bit of a difference between a kind of suburb townie and then East Kilbride. It's just further out again, if you like. And I don't know, it's a bit of a kind of overspill, isn't it?
Yeah.
Parliament Central, up East Kilbride, it's just roundabouts
forever. And obviously Alan had a bit of history out there. He'd done a brief stint with, you know, he'd worked beside Irvin and Rita, and they had a business in there as well. So there was a kind of little bit of a link in history to the town with the brand anyway. And obviously, forever, most of the clientele had been coming in from all of these places into the city centre anyway, so it's not as if they hadn't heard of it and didn't know who we were and what we were about. And did that kind of hit the ground running? So obviously you
first year was brilliant.
Yeah, so you'd grown up and, you know, you'd hit the ground running in Clarkson, and that had been busy from the off. And did you feel that East Kilbride was the same from the start?
Yeah, the first year was brilliant. It was great. We, you know, the turnover was magic. We were all busy, but it's a new salon. Everybody wants to come and try. So yeah, it was really good. And then it was just trying to build your team. I think that with East Kilbride was, you know, team members that are right and they're going to stay and they're staying long enough to build. And we did go through a period of time where they were coming and going. So that then was difficult to try and get the salon to where you want the salon to be, because you're trying to get that momentum going. And then when, you know, one or two go, it's like starting from the beginning again. So you're losing that momentum. So there was a few years in there where it was just harder. It was just harder work and longer hours, and you need to take more clients, and you need to just do what you do to get, you know, to get through. So eventually, after a few years, it settled, and we got a couple of stylists that were slightly older and were more settled and knew the job better. So that kind of helped.
Because the thing is, well, you would obviously, it was a year after. Because you guys were a year after me, weren't you? Was it 2005?
I think so.
So, you know, you're only 2 years in, 3 years in, and then it's credit crisis time.
I know.
And then, like, you know, the money's gone and the banks are no lending and folk are losing jobs and mortgages are getting taken off of people and all that kind of stuff. So, whereas, you know, a decade before, you walking into a salon in the 2000s or the late 90s, especially at Rainbow Room, you know, you didn't need to try.
No,
really. You had to be good to get the client to come back.
Of course.
You didn't need to try to get them through the door. You know, self-promotion was kind of, yes, we had to do it, but, you know, didn't really need to do it. I mean, I started on the Saturday with 2 9 o'clocks and 2 9:45s. And
I know. I remember, I think one period I'd done something like 180 clients.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God.
You couldn't even imagine being able to do that now. But, needless to say, you probably need to have about like 2 assistants beside you all the time. So you probably did. And 7 trolleys around you with various bits of your kit things, on every trolley.
So it's my creative process. It's how I work.
It's creative, all right. That's one word for it. We'll let you away with it. Well, we don't really let you away with it, but anyway. So, and how did you find management in comparison? Because obviously now it is all on you. It's a different responsibility. It's a completely different thing. It's never what anybody thinks it's going to be. Because you're not sitting drinking cups of coffee telling everybody what you do and then going, oh, look, I've got a monthly bonus for being a manager. It's like, can it be any further away from that, is it?
I know, you're responsible for your team. I remember Adrian saying that. He said, first and foremost, you look after your team. So you had to be there for everyone. So and I felt that management, you know, I'm dead creative and I love the, you know, the hands-on stuff of my job and all that. And management is so much more the other stuff. you know, you're managing people and they're all individual, they're all different, they all need different things, they all need an arm around them at certain times, and you're trying to be everything for everyone. So, and then make sure the stock's done, make sure the computers are working, and you know, all that. So it's a great skill to have, and I'd done it for about 14, 15 years in East Kilbride in my 3 years training. I'd done all that, but I am more creative.
Yeah.
So I think I had got to a point I wanted something different.
Yeah.
I wanted something more. And I felt that the management was taking me away more from the stuff that I really loved.
Yeah.
So I think it was then, I felt it was time to, you know, just revitalise the creative side.
Yeah. I mean, again, you know, you go back through some of the director stories that everybody else had that little period of juggling both, where they'd either had their stint in the art team and they'd done it, and they, you know, including Adrian, they either liked it or they didn't like it, but kind of understood that, well, I need to go down that path and see if it's for me and whatever. And Alan, for all intents and purposes, would have pushed it, would have made us do it. There would have been an element of no choice for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
Wasn't bullying you into it or anything like that, but he knew that you would have to have had a taste of it, or, you know, and so I think that was really good. Whereas you probably didn't, you could have had been so headstrong into
this is
get
it.
the cash, hit the targets, doing all that.
Yeah, it's an
stuff.
opportunity I was given, and I was lucky.
So you kind of hadn't gone down that road, and obviously because this shining light had come into your life at this period of time and opened all these amazing horizons to you, that what actually happened is you picked a paintbrush back up again at that time.
That's right, yeah.
You kind of obviously...
When was that? So I really started when I moved down from Glasgow, Ayr, and then we went into Troon.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to paint.
So it's because the person that was renting your apartment from you in Troon had passed away, who was a painter.
That's right.
And you owed him a painting.
That's right.
And we kept on, and I kept on tripping over this canvas. This canvas was here, and a bit like the back boot of your car, I just keep moving stuff from here to there and back again. And this canvas, and I'd keep on asking you what it was, and you were like, I've prepped this, and you know, and you'd done the 9 squares. And
he'd done that. Rodney done that.
He'd done it for you, right?
He went, I need to get this ready for her to just hit the ground running.
To just do it, you know, that way.
And I never get round to it.
So, and it was always there. So obviously, you know, we've got these 2 unbelievable paintings in the house, and anytime I do a Zoom call, he's right behind my head. And
wasn't me.
It wasn't you, no. Like, there's plenty that are amazing it is, but those ones are his, and it's great that we've got them, and it is amazing. But the idea that then his passing was the thing that just, you know, I think we bought you a paint set. Oh, keep doing that. We bought you that paint set for your Christmas, and it was just like, let's do this, you know. And I'd come home, and if Stevie Wonder's Golden Lady was playing in the living room, I knew that the paints were out and you were doing it. Right. And the thing for me was the idea that I couldn't believe you had this dormant talent, that this was sitting in this ball of fire, that here's this cam thing. Yeah. So that way, because everything's usually like that, right? And all of a sudden, here's this cam strokes and all this softness. You know, that way, whereas normally it was usually jack attack and on fire, you know, and the idea that this dormant talent was there blew my mind, because as much as, you're passionate about doing all the abstract stuff and all that, that's not really where the journey started back again, because you started trying to paint like Rodney and do the thing, right. and the influence that he had in that style. I never remember her name. What's the Polish painter that you love?
Tamara Delempicka.
Right, so obviously, you know, and the next minute you paint this thing. What are you doing? You know, why is this? And then obviously that journey kicked off. But at the same time that journey kicked off, you get back into the art team and you started just sort of putting your nose back into that. For anybody watching and listening, right, and I'm far enough away from you so you can't hit me, going into it at an age.
Yeah,
You know, because people think that's
totally,
a young
absolutely.
guy's game,
Yeah.
or they think that that's well, that ship's
Sailed.
sailed. I can't take part in that anymore. What was that like coming back into the room, and you know,
Well, there's an element of when, you know, because the art team and hair that you would do for magazines or session work or stage work and that can be quite different from your day-to-day clientele. So you're starting to see all these wee weird and wonderful things that you maybe haven't had the opportunity to do.
no,
You
no,
know,
never.
so
No.
so there was an element of well, I've been doing this for 30 years, so I'm not going in like a total new start. I can bring something to the party,
Yeah.
but I've never done that.
Yeah.
So, but if someone just shows me once, or if I watch it once, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, and you're surrounded by a fabulous bunch in the art team in Rainbow Room, and they're all there to help one another.
Yeah.
There's no airs or graces. They're just really glad that they've got people that want to come on board and go, right,
Another
well,
set of hands.
if you
to
don't
help.
want to go on stage, I'll do that bit. Could you help with this bit or this prep bit, or could you do that? So then everybody mucks in, and you get to see so much.
Again, that's a bit that I think everybody's confused about. Is there's an avenue for everybody within it?
Yeah.
No, it's not like, and again, you're not forced. Like, you don't want to do presentation work, you don't want to do stage work, you don't need to do that. Or if you know, photographs not your thing, but the 360 is, and you can do the stage stuff. That's fine. Whether you just want to be a prepper, there's people that are there. Quite frankly, my role, other than doing the sort of presenting stuff, I'm quite happy to just dry hair and get stuff ready for other people to do their thing.
Take it on to the next stage.
No issue with that whatsoever. And just, for me, it was always just about being in the room to see what was happening. So that at no point, one, you were ever left behind, didn't know the direction either the brand was going in or hair was going in, and then also walking the talk. Because if I'm going to turn around and tell my stylist, really, you should be doing this, and really, you should be part of it. And because that's the culture I grew up in, in Buchanan Street at that time, for as much as it was sort of 15 was known as the sort of art teamy salon, there was still 4 people from Buchanan Street went over every Wednesday night for the art team nights, and then I became one of them, and Robert, he was over, and he kind of went first really, and then I would go over. So there was always a good crew of us went over, and nobody thinks of Alan as that guy, but right from the minute they were starting to build a collection for either photographs or for the alternate fair show, he would just be through the back, a Sinus brush, brushing somebody's hair away from their face, and just thinking, what are you doing? Nothing would happen. He would just literally stand there with a brush, and he would just push hair up, and he would just be building a shape in his head and going, well, I wonder if that would work. I wonder, how would I get that hair to there? That's all he would do. And then next minute, boff, he'd be back cutting Mrs. Caulfield's hair and doing a client. But he'd obviously just put that bit in his brain to then work it out. And then the next minute, Linda would come in with it all drawn. She's another art school reject. So she would come out and it would all be drawn, and the outlines would all be drawn. And it's like, right, okay, well, that's what we want to do. How do we get hair to do that? And obviously, you coming in at that period and coming in at that time was amazing, because it's it's not the norm for somebody to come in at the kind of later stage of their career. So the idea that it wasn't daunting and the team was welcoming was a message we always want to get out, that you can do that. So off the back of that, you do all of that, and then you get an opportunity to work with Schwarzkopf and do a photo shoot down in London.
Oh, that's right, with Tyler.
And that was kind of like
fantastic.
Out of left field, and got that
Totally.
opportunity. I mean, did you see anything like that ever coming? Kind of.
Well, coming, no, but I had one back in the day with Kenneth Arthur. I went along to one, and it wasn't at the level with Tyler. It wasn't. It was Kenneth doing his wife's hair, and there was a photographer there. That was it. But going down to London, having makeup, clothing, wardrobe. Tyler just been, and he was magic.
Yeah.
He was brilliant. I know you probably think in your head, oh, I don't know if I could go down there and do that.
Yeah,
What would it be like? What would they expect? And it's, again, we build it up to be way more. It is way more in a brilliant way. Of
course.
But it's not the negative that we build up, because it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
You know, so that was epic. That was
I think
so
the thing
good.
people get confused with, at the end of the day, he's the creative director of the shoot. So he's the manager.
Yeah.
He's the director. He's the boss of the thing. But at the end of the day, if it's a crap shoot and all that money's been spent by whatever organisation's paying for it, in that case, Schwarzkopf, and it's crap, well, he's the one that gets it in the next. So he's not going to, in no point is he going to make anybody not look good.
And they were all brilliant. They were brilliant. But how he then put it all together.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the magic happens, isn't it? Yeah. And it was fabulous.
Yeah.
And I got a front cover.
And you get a cover, I know. And then obviously you get to go to the hairdressing awards, and there's your image.
And my billboards,
and
I have my image up, and which I never ever thought. So
ginormous.
in the Grosvenor, you know, you just would never expect it.
Yeah.
We had a video as well, so that video guy.
That was funny.
Who are they again?
Clear Media, isn't it?
That's right. And they done interviews. I mean, about 3 times I had to do it because I kept overthinking it.
Yeah.
But that would be on a loop, so our wee videos would be playing up on the big screen in the back. And never at any point did I think.
My bird's on the telly. And the thing with that is, I mean, it's a massive message to not just either not give up, you know, because it wasn't that you'd not given up on being an art team member. It was just that the opportunity at the right time came, and because of where your painting had taken you, you wanted your hairdressing to go there as well, and also give your hairdressing a new lease of life as well, because we've always got to
revitalise it. It did.
We've got to put an influence in. So the journey of the painting at the same time, like, because it's been massive, and it's been really important to you.
Absolutely.
And something I've had to put up with for many reasons, good and bad. But if I even hear the word, what's the stuff again? Raisin. I'm like, oh no, not a raisin. As beautiful as they are, and they are amazing, but nobody will understand the work.
The pain. I know. I actually think I'm allergic.
I'm allergic to it. I don't even do
them. To a couple. I'll need to get a company that
I'm allergic to them. I don't even do them. But how was that journey? When did you decide that you were doing this? That you were going to paint, you were going to show, and you were going to put that out there?
I think it was during COVID.
Yeah.
Because obviously we weren't in the salons.
No.
And I had this free time, and it clears your brain because you're not thinking it, and then it just, I mean, you know, when people say, you know, when you're creative, you see it everywhere. Yeah. People have been saying that to me for years, and I'm like, I don't get that. It's not happening to me, but
no.
it did then. It did
clicked.
then, because it was all I was focusing on. Yeah. So if I would be on YouTube every night watching all these fluid art videos, and that was, you don't need a paintbrush, you don't need any artistic you don't need an artistic bone in your body for fluid art. You just need to know the process, and it's all about the prep, and then it's basically what the paints do. So that helped me build my confidence again. You know, I'd done the couple of these paintings and the one for Rodney and all of that, but I hadn't, other than that, I hadn't really ventured out of that. So I started getting into fluid art during COVID, and it was every day. So I'd watch videos at night, up in the morning, in the garage.
Everywhere.
Paints. Aye, I know. I made a
still scraping it off the walls.
It's not good now.
Yeah.
So's our garden.
No comment. Swiftly moving on.
So, yeah, and then I couldn't wait to get up in the morning to get in to see how it dried off.
I would wake up in the morning and be in my face like, what do you think of that one? I'm like, going to 8 o'clock in the morning, like, bosh.
So just it grew arms and legs from that point. COVID, yeah, definitely.
There's a couple of really funny bits about that, because obviously Alan asked us to make a film about how our directors staying creative during lockdown. And we're doing the video, and of course the main abuse you were getting was the fact that your roots and your hair was done. Because obviously you're online like that, all that way, highlights and a root tint and a haircut. And I was like going, I very well seen you live with a hairdresser, you know. And obviously, and this was the thing, we had to pick a tone. because it was obviously a super positive thing.
Yes.
And as you say, you'd never had that length of time
Off.
not cutting hair and being able to focus on it, but obviously not being too excited about it, because obviously people were losing their jobs and losing their lives. And,
I
you
know,
know,
it was a
so it was
serious
really hard
time.
to just go, oh, this is amazing. I'm having this great time and I'm producing all this work. So that was really weird. But obviously in that period was the first time you came in with a painting and you went, right, this is mine. I did this. This isn't something that came from an idea that I've seen. Well, it was the first time you looked at something and went, I can call myself an artist now because I created this body of work was mine. And then at that point you would then run on, you would do blocks of the same thing. You know, you would do 4 or 5 of an ilk.
That's right.
You know, and then whether they get sold or taken on and all that. Because this is the thing, you ever see yourself selling them? Like, see, when you first went into it and painting it, did you ever think that other people were going to have your work hanging in their house?
And it's that imposter syndrome, and there's a lot of, I mean, I'm part of the Troon Art Club, and there's a lot of the girls that say the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, there is that you find, and you're like, why do we do that to ourselves? You know, but it's just. It just is what it is. You don't think someone's going to love and see in it what you've put into it.
Yeah,
you know, because I always say to people, it's it's a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
Because I would tear my hair out sometimes, or I procrastinate, and then go, no, I'm going to have to lose that amazing part of it.
Yeah.
Because it needs to get to the next stage, and I need to sacrifice part of it. And there's all this pulling and throwing and. There's, you know, that it's quite the tug of war at times, and then you get to a stage where you go, it's finished.
So that's the bit I can't. But you're like, so what's again really interesting, because obviously I get to see both sides, is your hairdressing and how you cut and how you do hair and how you paint. There's the same similarity to it. Weirdly, you're actually slightly more tidy painting than you are cutting hair. But again, that's another thing. You want to see these trolleys, Alan? The trolleys, right, anyway. But, you know, if you think about, you freehand with a blade, you know, with your razor, you don't even have it in a holder. The blade's in your hand, and you yield that like a paintbrush when you're in the back, and your texture and your softness, and then obviously your painting can go that way. But equally, when you colour, you're not scared of starting again.
No.
If it's not going where you think it's going, whether it's a cut or whether it's a colour, you're instantly brave enough to down tools,
I go, stop,
and start again. And the same thing is when I can see you and you're scraping the paint off a canvas that for all intents and purposes, looks amazing and it looks brilliant, and you're like, no, it's not right, and you're starting again, and I can't. You know, I'm 1 + 1 + 1. You know, I've got to start there, and the whole thing's got to go in a nice big straight line. And if there's any wee curvy bit in the middle, then obviously I'm smashing stuff up and can't cope, right? So obviously I've got to go in that nice wee trajectory, whereas you can really easily down tools and you know, shake it up and start again, as it were.
Yep.
And that blows my mind. But that's obviously something that's in you. Maybe that's back to what you're talking about as a kid and change. And, you know, just that moment where you can do that, which is bonkers. So as we're at just now with your painting, you know, is it still as big a part of your life? Is it still as important, you know, what you're doing with it just now?
Yeah, still is. Although the past 6 months, 7 months, is I've not had much time because I'm training dogs.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's another wee project, isn't
it's a whole
it?
other,
It's a whole
Normally these things start with I was thinking, and then as soon as I usually hear those words, I get a cold fear of now how my life's going to dramatically change. But nothing will ever be in comparison to the photograph of Mr. DJ being sent to me, and that you were on holiday and this dog's walked into your hotel, and the next minute I'm showing Mac a picture. I'm going, this guy's coming. And for 3 months, Mac ran about the house going, there's a wild animal in the house. What the hell? And
Why is he still here?
And then we got his DNA done. He's 14% wolf, and he really was a wild animal. So yeah, there was that, but you know, obviously you're showing work just now, aren't you? You know?
Yeah, so we've just finished an exhibition at the Glasgow Art Club, the Paisley Art Institute.
Yeah.
So that was running for the past few weeks. So
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Paisley Art Institute, which
Uh-huh.
was, I couldn't believe I actually
Yeah.
get in that one.
Uh-huh.
We were going down to Gatwick to pick DJ up, and my friends from Sandra from Troon Art Club said, give me it, I'll take them up.
Yeah.
They're looking for people. They're going to, enrol a few members, but we need to take up 3 framed works. And I said, well, listen, can I do it? I says, we're going down to Gatwick to pick DJ up. She went, give them to me. So, God love her. So she took them in for me, and then I got the email to say, you get in.
And all 3 get in, didn't they? You know,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
And how does that feel? Because obviously there's people in that room you really admire. You know, and there's stuff hanging up there that's like, they're my favourite painters, or I love that artist, or I love that. How does it feel to have your work hanging beside them?
I still don't know if that's actually sunk in, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of them. My favourite Scottish artist there, and I went up and introduced myself to one of them because you gave me trouble because I didn't want to do it.
No,
so it's still quite surreal. Don't know if that's quite sunk in yet.
Yeah. You don't have, obviously, Dutch courage when it's the British Hairdressing Awards, and we've all had a drink by then, and you're rugby tackling your favourite hairdresser at that point. But it's slightly different. We were all in our best behaviour, obviously, when we went to the opening show. But no, you've got to do it. You know, you're in the room, and it's what an opportunity. And at the end of the day, they're hanging on the same wall that you're hanging on. So what's the, the price tags might be slightly different. Needless to say, I'm straight into the book going, right, who's got the 20 grand, right? That's where we need to get these prices. I'll get a new motorbike, start selling these at 20 grand. But, so that's surreal. So, sitting now, career-wise, you've kind of, I was going to say slowed down, but you haven't really. You changed your hours for different reasons, and you've kind of, it's not quite, it's part-time, but it's not quite part-time. You're doing 3 days a week at EK, and they're not really half days, they're almost like 2/3 days, aren't they? And then you're doing a day at the beach, when I was on a Thursday, which again is like kind of 2/3 of a day as well. And how's that been?
Brilliant. I love it. So, I really enjoy it, and I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So I do. So it's been a lovely balance, and it hasn't affected my column really any at all. Yes, we all need to do a bit of referral and look for new clients just to make sure we don't slip back. But it's been really good.
Yeah.
It's and I'm quite fast. I'm a fast worker, so I can do a lot in 2/3.
Quite as the absolute the smallest of the words you've used today. Do you know what I
back
mean?
in the day, our appointments were when I first started training every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
And I was the assistant for Kenneth and his wife.
Yeah.
So I was boing, between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I learned very quickly to work.
Get a move on.
Not shooting the breeze, up the back.
And that's not changed in any way.
No.
For Tasmanian devil.
Because if it is, I don't feel like I've done a shift.
Really?
Aye, it doesn't feel.
If it's too calm.
Yeah. It's like something not quite right with that.
All right, okay, right, cat mode. Standbys for Jackie. Great. But obviously, you had trouble with your back, and there was physicality reasons for doing that as well. So you weren't able to do the hours that you used to do, and for all intents and purposes, it's maybe the one down sort of kind of bad point of hairdressing is you can't really stop. Because if you stop, you're not cutting anybody's hair, you're not making any money. So even if it was any other industry and any other career, you probably wouldn't have been at your work. You'd have been in your bed, which ironically might have been the worst thing for you, because it might have actually been worse for your rehabilitation.
Yeah, I don't know.
After all, we don't know. But anyway, you still had to do it. And even when you've tried to go back to more hours now,
you can feel it.
It's not really, it's not obviously the right thing for you. But I think it kind of was a risk. Not many, we hadn't really started putting people onto kind of that kind of level of part-time before out with maternity. It's always really interesting that if you've not had a family and you don't get maternity leave, then at the minute it's for any other reason, it's like, but why? But if you've had a baby,
It's okay.
It's completely fine. So it's always really weird that way. So you've not really done anything other than a similar sort of setup to what people would do from a maternity perspective, except obviously you've even had to reduce those hours as well. But what's really important, because obviously we live in a world of work-life balance now, so all we ever hear is work-life balance, is you were starting from a clientele like that, and you were able to fit all of those clients into that amount of time because you're able to work that fast. And so what people now think a full day is, you're doing in a half day, and your turnover's not really changed, and you're still, percentage of the time that you're on the salon floor, you're earning more money, either for yourself or for the salon. But where people are wanting to do is start there and do that time. The problem is the clients are away down there, and they want to do all this less time, and they've not got it.
Up.
And it's trying to get that into people's head, that they're looking and going, yeah, but she's doing it, and you're like, yeah, because you can do it in reverse, but you can't do that from the start. And has that left you with a kind of happy medium now?
Yes. Yeah, it's great. As I said, I still really enjoy my job.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I look forward to it. And I'm not. I thought before COVID I could retire at any point. I thought I could fill my days and all that. But see, the second COVID lockdown, I was like, no, I'm not. There's no way. It's fine if the sun is shining, you know what I mean? And every day, Club Tropicana. You know, it was
just
great.
Champagne corks and Prosecco corks flying through the back garden. We were getting black eyes in my house at that point.
Well, I was on holiday, you know, but then see the second one, no chance, there is no way. And that was a bit of an eye-opener. It was. I thought I'd really learn something about myself, and I thought, nah, you're not ready. There's no way. No. So, and what I'm doing now, and the hours that I'm doing and how I'm doing it, I love it. Yeah. I love it.
And also, like, again, you come up with an idea that I then have to get roped into. This doesn't happen in reverse, by the way. See, if I come up with an idea, piss off Baldy and get on with it, right? I've just got to do these things by myself. But obviously dogs, that's all I hear about now. So it used to be, all I used to hear about was what was wrong with East Kilbride and what stylist was being a pain in the backside or what assistant or whatever. Now I'm part of the dog mafia. That I didn't realise I was going to be part of, and that's an even murkier world than bloody hairdressing. But out with that, you're obviously head to toe between our own two, but you're out rescuing them at midnight as well now. Yeah,
I'm a volunteer for a big group. There's a big group of between about 25 to 30 people that we've got that all volunteer their own time, and if your dog's lost or a dog's been abandoned or anything and it needs secured, or you need to go along and scan it for a chip so we can find an owner so nothing happens to it. It might get knocked down, B, it might get, might get picked up by someone and you never see it again. You just don't know. So we're the team down in Ayrshire, South Ayrshire, and we will go out and hopefully secure the dog and do what we need to do. I mean, the other night we were out, weren't we?
Well, at time of recording last week, it was all that. What are you doing? Like, well, you know fine well what I'm doing. I'm cleaning your pal's car. Like, I've had a drink. We need to go and get this dog. And I'm like, because we'd be sending you out there at 11:30 at night by yourself anyway. Do you know that way? It's not like you would be going. No. But it's an amazing thing to do. And again, it's, as you always do, if that's what your passion is and that's what your focus is, it's like, it's like a tank attack. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just a bosh.
Well, I'm 150% in.
Yeah, oh no, that's it. There's no doubt about it. So, two things, right? We get so into it, and it's obviously, I think it's because I've changed seat, William, that I'm doing things back to front. I think I'm sitting in the wrong seat. And me being me and a creature of habit and all that, I'm kind of like, I've let my control go away. Because we didn't do your chocolate bar, did we?
No, and I'm looking at it the whole interview.
All the time going, where's my chocolate bar? Now, again, window into my life, right? So I buy all this stuff at the petrol station on the way in. I get my cup of coffee, which was crap this morning, by the way. You know who you are, petrol station. My coffee was rotten. So I wasn't in a good mood when I started this. So it's actually your fault, petrol station, that I forgot to do this the wrong way around. But we also had to slightly change the chocolate bar because somebody prefers a certain version of said same chocolate bar that we use. So I think we already know A, what the answer is, and B, what William's getting for his lunch today. Of the 2 chocolate bars, you want a Whisper Gold or you want a Lindor Salted Caramel? There's a surprise. William, there you go. He's also been sitting behind the desk giving it. Where am I getting mine? So right, we're coming to the end. Couple of things I always like to ask. That kind of sliding door moment. So the woman with the glass of wine in the other salon. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine who you were? Is that even in your mind, like as a hairdresser, or who you were going to become?
No.
If they'd have phoned back, like, imagine they'd have phoned back and you weren't in the taxi and the guy was saying Rainbow Room. You know,
I know.
It's like absolute sliding door moment.
Yeah.
If you were back at that age, even at the point where you were going to Kenneth's and all that, would you do it all over again?
What I've done,
Yeah.
the choices that I made. I joined Rainbow Room and Rainbow Room went, who do you want to be?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Uh-huh.
Because we can facilitate all of it.
Uh-huh.
Now, I didn't come from a place, a workplace like that. So, absolutely. Maybe would the choices would be similar, but I'd be with Rainbow Room.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have went down the art team a bit earlier.
Aye. Yeah. But
You
it
know.
was only right for you.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
only right for you and it was right for you and you had the space in your life to
And
let
the
it.
time.
To let
the time
it
was
be
right.
different.
The timing with me is always about.
And I think that's really important. And you know what I'm like, and you get me into trouble for it all the time because I'm always going, I wish I'd done that sooner, as opposed to going, yeah, but you've done it. You know, whether it's a bike thing or a work thing or whatever. I'm like, oh, God, I wish I'd done it sooner. You go, yeah, but you've done it, as opposed to having not done it. So it's the same thing. So listen to your own advice and shut your face, right? Any advice you would give that person?
Any advice? Maybe do things a bit sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But everything I've done, I'm happy
Go
with.
to me. Maybe you wait for 12 years.
Maybe, maybe do things a little sooner. Yeah.
Anyway, that's another domestic issue that we'll not get into. Thanks very much. Right, so finishing up. We're finishing the Stars of the Brand with the question. 24 hours to live.
Yeah.
You can go to 2 gigs and you can bring 1 act back from the dead and you can go and see somebody that's still alive. So who's your dead and who's your alive?
Who's my dead and who's my alive? Now I've got a very wide,
Yeah.
music that I love all sorts.
Aye.
I think alive would be, and this is very apt because I've got an album called Alive.
Right.
I've never seen them,
Right.
and I love them. Daft Punk.
Right.
If they're coming back
So
together
you'd need to get them reformed. You'd need your fingers crossed to do an
come
Oasis
on,
and they'd come back. And
Their Alive album I used to go work out in the gym to.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. And Dead, the Rat Pack.
So you're going to cheat and bring back 3?
Aye, I'm going to bring
right,
Sammy
brilliant.
D,
So,
Sinatra, and Jimmy Dean.
Dean
Dean Martin, sorry.
Martin, aye. Yeah.
Aye, all 3 of them. Yeah,
So
because
you'd
I
have
think,
to-
would that not be...
Oh, no, it'd be the best night out.
Absolutely.
It would be to see them in the sands and doing their thing. To think that there is no footage of that. There's like a kind of kid on. They did a benefit gig, but the compere's not the real compere that would have done the actual Rat Pack thing in the sands. And the fact is, they were filming movies there all the time, and it would have been it'd have been completely. And obviously, Sinatra does live at the Sands, and they do the record and all that, but they never ever filmed any of it. Is
no.
crazy. And obviously, we're living at the time where we've just had all that Elvis footage
That's right.
of Vegas, and it's been amazing. But the idea that you've not had that, and music's just as part of your life, isn't it? Obviously it's something that we've got in common. We've got records lying about and all kind of things. And a thing I've always done with newborns in my family, always get a copy of Imagine by John Lennon in a frame. So it started off with my nephews and nieces, and then it went on to my great nephews and nieces and all that. So anybody's born, they get a copy of Imagine in a frame, and at the front always write, always be a dreamer, you're not the only one, and then you've taken it on, and it's Bill Withers' Lovely Day, and your nephews, we had to retrospectively do it because Oisin was about 11 or 12,
I
wasn't
know,
he?
by the time he got
time he
his,
got
I
his.
know.
So he was well into Planet, and then obviously Luca and Rocco then get there. So music's always a huge thing and part of your life as well. So yeah, we'll need to see if our French friends will get back together at some point. They'll need the money at some point. There's no way they'll need the cash. And the good thing with them is they can look haggard and knackered and tired anyway.
Their helmets on.
They just need to stick their helmet on, their tuxedo jacket, and away they go. And then obviously I'll have the heartache of trying to find that ticket.
Yeah, of course.
That'd be a laugh. But and then obviously, well, the Rat Pack's that's a whole other kettle of fish. Right, wasn't too weird, was it?
No, it was
all
okay.
right.
It was all right.
And as usual, I didn't get to say a word anyway, so it was just like breakfast for me. This was this was normal, right? If anybody's watching and don't get it, then they're off their head, right? Because it's dedication, it's passion, and it's hard work, and it's a love of the craft. Whether the craft is painting, whether the craft is cutting hair, whether the craft's running about looking after dogs that you find in weird and wonderful places, and that jumps out at you and from you all the time. So anybody watching that can't get inspired by that's not getting the right thing, and you've obviously been a credit to the brand the whole time that you're there. So from the brand and I, thank you.
Thank you.